Is I met the guys at iForm in 2008. It was exact back then, and we started a project for a sock company. That's where I started off with iForm. We built a project for gold toe socks, and they had a massive problem with their trade show booths, basically socks being everywhere all over the place. And they came to us and they said, we don't want socks all over our trade show booth. We want to be able to allow them to have a retail experience of going through a trade show booth, scanning the socks that they wanted to make these franchises, big shoe stores wanting to buy socks for the whole year. With the Linea Pro, go through, scan them with an iForm, create a color catalog, walk away from the trade show booth. That was my first iForm project. And since then, we've built iForm projects for Caterpillar, Cummins, DaVita, Dialysis, and I am currently in a 2-year project with InnovaPad, which I'm the CTO of, and it is an application for fire departments, which I'm going to talk about today. So, I think this is a really good picture. 2005, 2013. I don't think I need to say anything else. No mobile devices, lots of mobile devices. With that being said, I think I'm not the first presenter to use that we're at a new frontier. We're at a new frontier of technology, of applications, of devices where it's really our imagination of how we use technology. And these guys in this room at iForm, they get it. They understand that. It's hard to define something when you're living in the middle of it. Having connectivity in a third world country, being able to program a web server from a backpack that's solar connected to the cloud and push out those forms in real time. It's crazy. It is literally crazy the things we can do just in the 6-7 year period that we're talking about. When you look at walking into a Target and they used to carry around these gigantic military barcode scanner devices, and now you've got this cool, sexy little thing. And it's powerful, much more powerful than that big laser rifle barcode scanner thing. Okay? So, the new frontier. It's a smart phone. It's a smart world. I mean, I honestly have this slide in from a previous talk. I had a love affair with Nest, and I've fallen out of love with Nest because of that little scroll wheel over time is not user-friendly. What I can say with this slide is I can say, iForm used to not be all that user-friendly, and now it is. This went the opposite direction. It was really awesome and sexy, and then as you use it and it collects dust in your house, it doesn't work. That scroll thing, there's a flaw. iForm got better, this got worse. I think this is a really awesome quote, and I talk about it. Not knowing what to do when there's not a manager telling you what to do. When you have these smart tools that are ever changing, you have the possibility to do incredible things. To manage data, to collect data, to analyze data, look at trends, and I just really like this quote. And there's a couple of slides in here like this. They're going to be like, why did that slide show up? Funding. So not only can you work in the comfort of your own home, you manage projects in a different way, funds for projects come in a totally different way. So it used to be you had to raise capital or you had to have enough contract projects to make capital. Now if you have an idea or a concept or a group of friends, you can go out and chase the funding down yourself. The new frontier. It used to be that there was only one organization that could shoot a rocket into space. Well, there was one government organization. And now you have, we're just shooting technology into the galaxy with SpaceX. The App Store keeps growing. This slide could go on forever. The iteration and the growth and the monetization of mobile apps, just in the 6-7 years that I've been, it's just phenomenal. You're probably saying, Dawson, when are you going to get to the iForm part of this? It's coming, I promise, it's coming. So we took this basic set of principles and we created this matrix. Open access to information. People first design as a differentiator. Removal of gatekeepers. IT guys, get out of the way. You're stopping progress. Get out of my way. I need to push out the forms. Get out of the way. Yeah. Got it. I got it. Next generation device components. Thunderplug. iBeacons. The variable node. Somebody in the NASCAR shirt showed me a really amazing sensor device. Sensor-based technologies. Connectivity. Whether you're connecting from a backpack or you're connecting from your cell phone or you're on a Wi-Fi, you're at a Starbucks now. I prefer working at Starbucks because it's faster than my own home now. And my kids aren't there. Agile creation of products and services. Z and his team, they've proven that. They iterate, they take ideas. How many people in this room are using the Manatee scanning engine in their iForm? I came to Z through InnovaPad and said, I have a better barcode scanner than Red Laser. Please put it in your product. Z said, we'll try it. I was with the CEO of InnovaPad. I said, we got to have this. This scanner scans driver's licenses. Red Laser doesn't. Z, while I was there, he said, let me turn it on. Sync your device. Boom, I'm scanning driver's licenses. It made our platform. Without it, we wouldn't have the InnovaPad. Yeah, we wouldn't have we wouldn't have the ability to do the most complicated part of our data collection project without the Manatee engine and Z. Okay, so firefighters. Let's get going with the firefighter dudes. These dudes are struggling. They need air. There's problems in first responders. They have issues. We started with why. There's this great Simon Sinek article about start with why. Why do you build a product? Why do you have a company? Why do you select the people that are in that company? So we started with why as well. And we came up that we want to build a technology that helps fire departments meet their budgets and afford better technology. You can see this guy's got a flashlight taped to his helmet. His other flashlight's turned over. This thing is like from 1950, and he's got a radio. We wanted to allow them to collect data and have accountability and transparency and make their reporting process easy and efficient. And we wanted to make firefighters' jobs better and incentivize them to collect the data. And in the part of it, incentivizing them to collect the data, they received back some of the losses they do when they respond to motor vehicle accidents. This is a crazy figure that I'm going to tell you guys right now. 95% of fire department calls are to motor vehicle accidents. $1 million engine sitting out on the highway blocking traffic for a motor vehicle accident. 5%, actually 4% are actual fires. So, InnovaPad. Let's see if this is going to work. You can't get the sound. This is a really cool video. It shows the iPad. I'll get to the part where it shows our form real quick. They go to a motor vehicle accident. The voiceover guy on this video is way better than me. It launches the InnovaPad. This is how they used to do it and do reports. He grabs the InnovaPad, keys on the information, launches the app, grabs information that's on the form. All this information that was all computer, all laptop generated. I guess it's not going to show the barcode, the driver's license scanner. Let's see if it does. Well, you'll have to trust me that it does scan. It flips the back of the driver's license over, scan it, barcode, his information comes in, off we go. All right. So the solution is we provide an iPad to an apparatus at a fire department. That fire department responds to a motor vehicle wreck or a hazmat event or a commercial fire. They collect driver's license information, registration and insurance cards, photo, audio notes, drawings, what have you, all with our white-labeled InnovaPad application. We send it to the cloud at iForm, and we send it to the cloud at Google. We integrate with a bunch of different SMS services to fire off messages internally and externally, people on our team and people on the different fire department teams. We act as a billing agency for the fire department. All of this, the entire platform, is run on forms generated with iForm. From generating the invoices to generating the scene information, hazmat information, everything. We keep 25%, we give 75% to the fire department. In addition to iForm, we use all these other services. And we're integrated in with all these other services. And I'm gonna go through a couple of them today in more detail. Because of all those services, we're able to draft behind without us having to build UI, infrastructure, architecture. We're riding behind the innovative creations of all those other companies, sitting in the wind, going as fast as we can. This guy's not so smart because he doesn't have a helmet on. iForm Builder. I wasn't sure that we could do it because I needed to have one form to many fire departments across many users. I wasn't sure that iForm would do it. And we wanted to have all those users in one instance so that all of the automated billing and all of the things that happen on the claim side could work together. That's where we took iForm and tested it to the limit. So we created a single form, and we tie everything that happens on that form from the user ID. So we have a unique user ID, their email address. We have an incident ID number, which we call the INP number, that ties back to everything. And we have a customer ID number for each fire department. We have, I'm going to use forms differently than Al used forms. We actually have built 125 applications on the device. Different forms, different levels of forms, some with paging, some without. 125 of them. We do 50 middle tier API calls, and we've been basically from beta to the 1 year mark. This 2014 was our first year. We collected almost 3,000 accidents. We produced 2,300 invoices. We captured almost 10,000 scene photos. We did claim updates where our agents with the iPad did claim updates on 15,000 records, all with 2 ladies that work part-time. Both of them are stay-at-home moms. 1 operations manager and 1 sales rep. We gave back $370,000 to fire departments in our first year in business.
What do you mean by middle tier API calls?
I'll get there. It's really cool. You're going to really like it. So the data is in the details. This doesn't look like, I couldn't figure out how to get a flowchart of all the API calls and various things we did on one page. So it goes way down here and way up there, but that's like the bulky section where form calls, API calls, backup API calls, but we basically did a flowchart of data going in the front end of iForm and data getting processed on the outbound going back into Google. And we use Google as this middle tier application. I don't think we've coined the phrase middle tier, but we use it as a middle tier application to do processing. Google. Google has a set of tools that they call Google App Scripting Tools. It's just like JavaScript. On that scripting side, you can do amazingly powerful things. Generate automations, do backups of source, push the API so you get data that's come into iForm, and then you push it over to Google, and then you take it from Google and push it back into iForm. Did I lose anybody yet? Okay. Form data comes in, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So we have this configuration file, which obviously is super easy to understand. These are all these tables that are forms in iForm. They're configurations that we tie together. And when a user that's in iForm submits a record, the first thing we do is in a routing table at Google, we look up what fire department they belong to. And because they submit a record with a unique ID, we know that that unique ID with that user who belongs to a fire department, we can track them on one form throughout the whole process. So in Google, we tie all these, we create essentially redundant web services to the ones that are running at iForm. If we ever lose data at iForm, we can take data that's at Google and push it back into iForm if it's missing. So if I do a bonehead thing, like I change an options list, or I do something that dumps a whole bunch of data, I can take the data in Google and push it back through the API to get the data back. I am not an expert iForm user. I am an iForm user who has made some incredibly stupid mistakes and had to figure out ways to recover from them. And so Google is this redundant layer. We have a parent record at iForm, and we have all the records that get created through the transfer at Google. We never delete anything on the Google side. We just append to it over and over and over again. And we only use the latest record at Google to make any processing things we need to do on that side. So it's incredibly powerful. Google is the bomb. No UI, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Scripting. The same tools, they eat their own dog food. The same tools that Google engineers use, we use. So they're not going away because they're built with those tools are built to build their platform. It's awesome. If you're afraid of Google, stop being afraid. Dive in. It's awesome. So here's a couple more. We have some configuration tabs. Our founder is 70 years old. They're spreadsheet guys. They want to be able to filter, move. I didn't need to build a complex Panic Gecko board visual chart. He just wants a spreadsheet, and he can build the charts he wants, and he wants the flexibility to do that. So we created these really visual spreadsheets, is what we'll call them, to be able to look at all this information, filter it, and get an idea of what's going on. Here's another spreadsheet. Our agents see all these. These are the two agents, the two stay-at-home moms. They can look at this chart, and they can see green means it's in the folder, and I can go look at it. Red means it's missing, and I can see analytics of where I'm at. And so when I see all green, I know it's time to go and process that claim because everything's there. If I see any red dots, I know I've got to file some kind of claim status form to get the documents that I need. So that's just like a visual assignment board. And then we have these Microtools is what I'm calling them. iForm, super awesome about putting data in there the first time. But if you have to change that data, not so easy, right? You have to go into the browser, you have to edit a database record, or you have to have an API call to make a modification. We've used the API call that says, okay, this fire department went out on scene, they scanned 1, 2, 3 drivers, they flagged the wrong at fault. Well, our agents can go into this tool, switch the at fault, API makes a call back to iForm, adjust the records accordingly, it lines up on the invoice like it should. Have I lost anybody yet? Awesome. So we're playing with a lot of Legos. If I connect the iPad, I just want to show you a couple of things. I think you're going to see forms just like all of you in this room have forms. But I'll show you some other integrations we've done that I think are worth your time. Oh, and with that being said, I'm going to pull. There you go. Okay, so our iForm white label client, we've got a lot of forms. And because we sync up all these records so we can reuse the data in our forms, you'll notice it's basically constantly syncing. Things that I'm proud of on our form are, this is a pretty cool thing, and I got to attribute the help on making this work to Ben. So we have this idea of because that INP number is imperative to connecting everything in our system, we make the user key it in twice, just to make sure it's done right. And I'm sure some of you guys have seen this feature where you can validate data from one field to the next. Well, we make a decision based on keying it in. So if I key it in wrong, it'll tell me it doesn't match. But the cool thing is, because we have 2 filters, we have 2 smart lookups. So basically, in one table, I want to pull up the insurance carrier that's related to this claim. In the other table, I want to pull up the incident that the fire department keyed in. But I can do it because I have these 2 lookups. This was kind of challenging because you're saying, okay, how do you know which logic to push against each one? Ben, he's a pretty young mad scientist, but we worked together. He said, that's crazy, but let's try it, and it worked. So that's one of the things I'm really proud of. this fire department name list, can you imagine having to keep up with a fire department list in an options list all the time as you're adding fire departments? And especially if you tie it based on a name. So we use the API that says, when I see a fire department that fuzzy logic kind of looks like that name, go out and check it against the routing table and then put the correct name that should be there using the API. So I'm pretty proud of that too. Let's see what else. This is pretty cool. Check this out. So the fire department I told you about, they have to write a lot of narratives. And if you've ever sat in front of a blank piece of paper, starting on a blank piece of paper is challenging. So this is a fire department narrative. So today, I select today, I'm fire department Dawson, done. I arrived on an engine. It was a motor vehicle accident. I took fire control and salvaged overhaul, and I used these things. On Wednesday, May 13th at 11, blah, 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 fire department officer Dawson arrived at the scene via engine responding to motor vehicle accident. The team took action. This is something really cool that I think we basically solved a fire department narrative problem that is a really big problem. Okay, so what else? Barcode scanning. You guys will have to trust me that we do a really good job with barcode scanning on that. We do badge scanning. So when a bunch of guys go to a fire and they want to be accountable for where every guy is on the scene, we can scan their badge. Their badge has their blood type, their next of kin, their wife's name, their weight, their height, who the emergency contact is, all that information from a scan. And then someone asked earlier about doing a lookup from within the form. So this is, let's see here. Doing a lookup on a outside document from within the form. Let me show you one of these here real quick. So we built our own CRM system too, to track track onboarding of fire departments. And it looks like this. So this customer ID is a lookup where I'm going to go out to Google and I'm going to look up a fire department, 120. I'm going to key in 120. And it's going to pull all the values based on that. So I have a master table in Google where I've assigned a customer ID to every fire department. My sales guy goes and looks it up, says, I'm making a call on this fire department. It pulls all the information. If he gets there and the chief's name is changed, he can update this form. The API will write back to iForm and overwrite the record so that the next time when he comes in, it's got the correct chief's information. Still have everybody? Awesome. We use Twilio to send SMSs to our sales guys. So when our sales guys are out trying to sign up a fire department, they can just scroll this list, and this is every time a carrier pays us, one of our agents fills out an iForm, it trips an API at Twilio and produces this, hey, great, we got paid. And then they can click on it and it will take them to the incident in Google Drive. Clipfolio, I also have a love-hate relationship with Clipfolio. It is not easy for users to use. If you don't have SQL experience, plus the whole, their visual way of doing dashboards. Has anybody in this room had success with Clipfolio? I think it's really challenging. The platform is fantastic, and I had high hopes for it, and I built some pretty cool charts when we first started. You know, number of claims, collections, average value. I did maps and graphs and trends, but to maintain these things is a nightmare. So, man, Z, bring home the honey. Show us what you got on the analytics. Let's see what's there. CartoDB, I heard some GIS chatter and some talk, and there's good stuff there. This thing's pretty awesome. It's this geospatial data visualization mapping service that allows you to take Google from iForm, from Google, and plot it, and it creates these really awesome maps. So this is a heat map of where this one particular fire department has the majority of their calls. So obviously that's station 1, and the heat map is where, for me, this tells me, Department of Transportation, South Carolina, you should probably fix something that's going on here. Something is wrong here. Or you have a lot of DUIs there. Or you can gain something from the visual part of the data that something is wrong. So visual tools. Zapier. I think you guys are going to really like this slide right here. This is kind of how I feel about Zapier. It's a Chewbacca hoodie. It starts off as the greatest thing ever, but I would never wear that out anywhere. You look at the Chewbacca hoodie and you think, man, that's really cool, but I would never wear that anywhere. Zapier had great beginnings, but it's also challenging as hell to get it all working, to keep it in sync. So Zapier Chewbacca hoodie. I have thrown a whole bunch of stuff at you today. I will answer any questions you have. I will talk about our system with any of you. I will disclose our problems, our successes. There's a lot of knowledge out there that there's so many cool ways to tie iForm Builder, great front end, works disconnected, to all these other services that are out there. Think about it. We've had these urgent pushes, like solve this problem, solve that problem. And what we've run into is little things like Reed Lewis from Canoes. Hey, we want to automatically launch a form when that apparatus or engine leaves the station. Cool, this secure little iBeacon knows station left, launch the form, en route, they start working their magic. The sensor tells them the form to launch. And the sensor is tied to a given department. And the sensor can be tracked back to a static location. So some really cool stuff with these secure iBeacons. The node. I don't know the reliability of this device over time, but so far the fire departments have really liked it. The fire department spends $12,000 on a temperature gun. That thing is like $200. So to be able to tell the temperature with a small device versus a $12,000 heat gun, this is something our fire departments can use. So then they're in our program, they use funds that they've generated from our program to buy these kind of devices for their users. Plus, it can do oxygen, especially in terms of good oxygen versus bad, the quality and what have you. We're just getting started with this device. I don't know how it's going to hold up. I don't know what it's going to do. But the fact that Z and those guys have had the vision to integrate it into the platform is something that I really like. And then the last one is Zebra. So if you need to print out anything, you can use these Bluetooth-enabled printers to connect to them and print. Let's see. We're putting out fires, and we have good partners that help us do it. We are iterating all the time. We are agile. We are building purpose-built tools, and we are doing it fast and furious. And that's it. Thank you guys for your time today.